Hello, Rebecca Radil here. I'm ready and raring to go through all of these pub quiz questions and welcome you to the great big HistFest virtual pub quiz. There are 33 points to be had altogether, and I'm hoping that most of you will be able to get all 33 of them. But a couple of quick things to say before I get onto the questions. As people know, may know, we've set up a GoFundMe account because our physical festival had to be postponed as a result of coronavirus. It's not the biggest of problems that's happened during this time by any stretch of the imagination, so I just want to flag that first. But if you can, if you do feel that you'd like to donate, we very much would appreciate it, and we have a GoFundMe account set up. The link is in the bottom, and anything will help. Just to help us create better events and ensure that our festival is as good as we wanted it to be when it happens next. So that would be fantastic. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, buy author books. That's a really good thing to do. Buy people's books because authors are really feeling the pressure of the lockdown as well, as are so many other people. Just encourage individuals who are trying to get by, and authors are definitely part of that group. Anyway, that's me rambling on. We will get on with the quiz now. Okay, so this is round one, and there's a total of 6 points available here. First question: who was Edward the Confessor's predecessor as King of England? Who was Edward the Confessor's predecessor as King of England? Question 2. An astronomer, mathematician and philosopher, she was assassinated in 1415 AD by a mob of Christians for her perceived links to the Roman governor of Egypt. Who was she? I'll repeat it. An astronomer, mathematician and philosopher, she was assassinated in 415 AD by a mob of Christians for her perceived links to the Roman governor of Egypt. Who was she? Question 3. What was the name given to the women who were charged with examining the bodies of the dead during times of plague in the early modern period in England? And if you've read my book, you will know that. I'll repeat the question. What was the name given to the women who were charged with examining the bodies of the dead during times of plague in early modern England? Question 4. In ancient mythology, Andromeda was the daughter of the king of which African country? In ancient mythology, Andromeda was the daughter of the king of which African country? Okay, question 5. This is a picture question. So in a moment, I'm going to flash up a picture and from an enigmatic historical manuscript, and you need to tell me the name of that manuscript. Question 6. Which famous intellectual, writer and orator said the following words during a speech in New York on the 3rd of August 1857? Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did and never will. I'll repeat that. Which famous intellectual, writer and orator said the following words during a speech in New York on the 3rd of August 1857? Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did and never will. And that's the end of that round. So if you want to go and get yourself a snack or a drink or anything like that, now would be the time to do so. on to round 2. Now there's a total of 8 points available here. And we will start with a theme tune. So question 7, you have to name this following theme tune. And that's all you're getting. Okay, so next question is... Oh, okay. Question 8. Mary Ann Nichols and Annie Chapman are 2 of 5 women whose lives form the basis of Hallie Rubenhold's award-winning non-fiction book, The Five. Name the other 3. So I'll say that again. Question 8. Mary Ann Nichols and Annie Chapman are 2 of 5 women whose lives form the subject of Hallie Rubenhold's award-winning non-fiction book, The Five. Name the other 3 women. And apologies if you can hear my cat meowing in the background. He wants some attention. Okay, are we ready for question 9? So, question 9. In which century was the Taj Mahal built? Oh, okay, so I've committed a pub quiz error. I should have said for question 8, you get 1 point for each of the names that you write down. So, for the 3 names that are missing from the 2 I gave you in the 5, you'll get a point for each one of them. Question 9. In which century was the Taj Mahal built? Question 10. So this is a picture question, and in a moment a picture is going to flash on your screen, and it is a picture of a philosopher. So this is name the philosopher. Question 11, and please forgive my terrible pronunciation here. Who won the Battle of Pinkie Cleugh in 1547? Who won the Battle of Pinkie Cleugh in 1547? Okay, question 12. For much of the medieval period, the Iberian Peninsula was under Islamic rule, but what was this kingdom known as? I'll repeat, question 12. For much of the medieval period, the Iberian Peninsula was under Islamic rule, but what was the name of this kingdom? And that is the end of that round, and the next round will obviously be round 3. So if you would like to have a little break now, please do. If not, just stick with it. Hello, so you're back for round 3. Okay, the first question of round 3, which is question 13, is a picture question. So in a moment you're going to see 4 pictures flash up on your screen, and they're all pictures of monarchs as babies or young children, and I want you to name the monarch from the baby pictures. Okay. What I should have said before that question was that this round is worth 8 points. You will have had 4 different pictures in the last question, so each one of them is worth a point on its own. Okay, we'll move on to question 14. And this is a quote from a book. 3rd of May, Bistritz left Munich at 8:35 p.m. on 1st of May. Arriving at Vienna early next morning, should have arrived at 6:46 p.m, but train was an hour late. This is the opening to which Gothic novel? So I'll repeat the quote again. You need to tell me the name of the Gothic novel that it opens. 3rd of May, Bistritz left Munich at 8:35 p.m. on 1st of May. Arriving at Vienna early next morning, should have arrived at 6:46 p.m, but train was an hour late. Okay, question 15, this is another picture question. And in a moment I'm going to show you a picture of the earliest known Chinese terrestrial globe, and it was made for the Chinese emperor, and I want you to tell me which year it was made, in which year it was made. So here's the picture. So, it was made for the Chinese emperor in which year? A, 1423, B, 1523, or C, 1623? Question 16. Which American battalion played a major role in the Normandy landings and the Battle of the Bulge, and were known as the Screaming Eagles? Which American battalion played a major role in the Normandy landings and the Battle of the Bulge, and were known as the Screaming Eagles? There'll be quite a few people that know that answer instinctively, I'm sure. Okay, question 17. Which Scottish racing driver was tragically killed at Hockenheim, Germany on the 7th of April 1968? So 17. Which Scottish racing driver was tragically killed at Hockenheim, Germany on the 7th of April 1968? And that's the end of round 3. So there were a total of 8 points, as I mentioned, to collect during that round. And we'll move on to round 4 next. For the next round, I am not. Okay. So we're on round 4 now, and there's a total of 6 points to be collected during this round. And this is the penultimate round, so this is the chance when you can really catch up if you've not been doing so well beforehand. And we're going straight in to one of the darkest moments of history. Sorry. Question 18, and this is a quote. One of the greatest disasters that has befallen any people... Sorry, I'll read that again. One of the greatest disasters that has befallen any people under British rule, and the damage to our reputation both among Indians and foreigners in India is incalculable. These words were said by the then Viceroy of India in relation to which 20th century event? I'll repeat that quote again. So this is question 18. The event was described by the Viceroy of India as one of the greatest disasters that has befallen any people under British rule, and the damage to our reputation both among Indians and foreigners in India is incalculable. I mean, to be honest, with Britain, it could be any number of events, but this is one particular one that happened during the 20th century. Okay, question 19. In 2018, an 8-year-old girl pulled a what out of a Swedish lake? So question 19. In 2018, an 8-year-old girl pulled what out of a Swedish lake? Okay, question 20. Established in 2019 by the New York Times and Nicole Hannah-Jones, the 1619 project marks the 400th anniversary of what? So question 20, I'll read it again. Established in 2019 by the New York Times and Nicole Hannah-Jones, the 1619 project marks the 400th anniversary of what? I'm getting my phone ready because the next question is a, what do you call it, a music round, a sound round, a theme tune round. Anyway, what you need to do is tell me the name of the TV series based on the first few seconds of the theme tune. So I have my phone here ready, no peeping, and I'm going to put the theme tune on now. And that's all you're having. Again, I think that's one of those questions that you're either going to know straight away or you're just not going to know at all. Okay, question 22. Alongside Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, what was the name of the third man on board the Apollo 11 mission to the moon? So, alongside Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, what was the name of the third man on board the Apollo 11 mission to the moon? And the final question of this round, question 23. Who assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria and his wife in 1914? I'll read that question again. Question 23. Who assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria and his wife in 1914? Okay, and we're on to the final round now. And if you've enjoyed this quiz, then yes, job done. So if I can find the questions, here we go. Round 5. So there's a huge total in this round of 5 points to be had. So question 24. What did the Romans call Scotland? What did the Romans call Scotland? Question 25. In which century did Hilda of Whitby live? In which century did Hilda of Whitby live? Okay, because I think it's only fair to throw in a really, really easy question as well. This is another picture round, and all you need to do is name the location. So you'll see a picture flash up on your screen in a second. And we're on to question 27. The second to last question. What is the name of the political party that Nelson Mandela led? So what is the name of the political party that Nelson Mandela led? And the final question, question 28, ignore that, question 28 is, how old was William Pitt the Younger when he became Prime Minister? So how old was William Pitt the Younger when he became Prime Minister? And that's the quiz done. Thank you. I guess you'll be needing the answers, which I'll bring to you in just a moment. Okay, so I'm going to read the answers to you now, and if you could just tally up the scores that you've got, and, you know, compete against your friends and family or work with your friends and family, that'd be great. I'm going to read the answers out to you, but then after I've read them, I'll also put them up on screen as well, so you can see them if you prefer to see things that way or need to see things that way. So here are the answers, and remember there were 33 points up for grabs in total. So in round one, the first question: who was Edward the Confessor's predecessor as King of England? Canute III. Question 2. An astronomer, mathematician and philosopher. She was assassinated in 415 AD by a mob of Christians for her perceived links to the Roman governor of Egypt. Who was she? Hypatia. Question 3. What was the name of the women charged with looking at the bodies of the dead during times of plague? Well, they were called searchers. Question 4, Andromeda. She was the daughter of the king of Ethiopia. Question 5, that's the Voynich manuscript. The illustrated codex handwritten in an unknown writing system whose pages date to the early 15th century, according to Wikipedia. Question 6, which famous intellectual said, "Power concedes nothing without a demand, it never did and it never will"? That was Frederick Douglass. So in round 2, name the theme tune. It's the theme tune to Mad Men. Question 8, the 3 names that you were looking for were Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes and Mary Jane Kelly. Question 9, the Taj Mahal was built in the 17th century. The Mughal emperor built it, of course, as a mausoleum for his deceased wife. He wouldn't really build a mausoleum for somebody to live in if they were alive. Well, stay in if they were alive. Anyway, question 10, name the philosopher. That was Confucius. Question 11, who won the battle? England won the battle. The name of the Islamic kingdom in the Iberian Peninsula during much of the medieval period was Al-Andalus. So the naming the future baby, the future monarch from their baby or childhood pictures. So A was the very pretty Charles II there. B is Edward VI. C is Edward VIII. And D is Queen Victoria. So well done if you've got all of them. I think the Charles II one is my favourite. Okay, let's get back to the answers. The quote about train travel and train journeying is from Dracula. I think it's a good job people persist with the book, because if that was, all you had to go on, I think I might give it a miss. Okay, the earliest known Chinese terrestrial globe was made for the Chinese emperor in 1623. Question 16. The American battalion were and are the 101st Airborne Division. Question 17. The answer to the question about the Scottish racing driver who was killed in Hockenheim, Germany. The name of that racing driver is Jim Clark. Question 18, the quote from the Viceroy of India was in relation, of course, to the Bengal famine of 1943. This was after he'd made repeated requests to the War Cabinet for further aid, or for aid, full stop, and they had refused or only offered limited supplies. The famine resulted in the deaths of between 2 and 3 million people. One of the great tragedies of the 20th century. Okay, question 19. What did an 8-year-old girl pull from a Swedish lake? That was a 1500-year-old sword. Question 20. The 1619 project was established to mark the 400th anniversary and also to reassess its repercussions of the first Africans to arrive in Virginia. Question 21. The TV series from the theme tune was Time Team, not a teen, which I think we all miss being on TV. So bring it back, please. The other question 22, the other person that was present during the Apollo mission, I think most of you will have got this one, was Michael Collins. The person to assassinate Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife was Gavrilo Princip. Bear with me. Okay, so round 5. This was a total of 5 points that you could get. Question 24. The Romans called Scotland, of course, Caledonia. Question 25. Hilda of Whitby lived during the 7th century. Question 26. The picture was, of course, of Petra. Question 27. Nelson Mandela belonged to and led the ANC, or otherwise known as the African National Congress. And question 28. William Pitt the Younger was 24 when he became Prime Minister. That still kind of blows my mind a little bit, but I guess that's what contacts do for you. So there were 33 points altogether. So if you tot up your scores, have a think about what you've got. I'd say if you got over 30, then you are pretty much a genius. Over 25, I think you can, walk around feeling a bit superior to everybody else. Over 20, that's fairly good. That's all right, because this is a general thing. I think anything under 20, you can just claim to be a specialist. You specialise in very unique areas of history. I think that's what I would do. Thank you ever so much for joining me. And as I mentioned at the beginning, if you can, this is a free event. HistFest is always, we're always going to be doing free events through lockdown time. But if you if you find that you are able or would like to donate to our GoFundMe cause, that would be very much appreciated. Have a lovely evening, everybody. Goodbye.